She missed the morning alarm. The cubs woke her with a paw on the shoulder. The hibernation pod's alarm had failed 3 cycles ago, but nobody knew yet. Lisa Chen floated in suspended animation aboard the Prometheus, her vital signs reduced to barely detectable whispers of life. The colony ship drifted through the void between stars, carrying 10,000 sleeping humans toward their new home on Kepler 442b. In the ship's biodome section, something unexpected was happening. The Vryn cubs shouldn't have existed. Their species wasn't supposed to reproduce during the 70-year journey. The xenobiologists had been certain, absolutely certain, that the environmental conditions would prevent breeding. But life, as humanity had learned repeatedly, found a way. The first cub, barely 6 months old, pressed its triple-jointed paw against the observation window of the hibernation bay. Its large, luminescent eyes reflected the soft blue glow of the stasis pods. Behind it, 2 more cubs tumbled and played, their chittering calls echoing through the corridor. These Vryn were different from their parents. Born in zero gravity, raised in artificial light, they had never known their homeworld. The adult Vryn, 12 of them, remained in their designated habitat, a diplomatic gesture from their species to humanity's colonization effort. But the cubs had discovered the maintenance ducts. The smallest cub, the others had taken to following its lead, tilted its head as it studied the sleeping humans. Its species possessed a peculiar gift, empathy that transcended language. Even at this young age it could sense distress, and Lisa Chen was in distress. Her pod's failure had triggered a cascade of problems. Temperature regulation was compromised. Her body was slowly warming, not according to the careful revival protocol but chaotically. In another 12 hours the damage would be irreversible. The cub pressed closer to the glass, its whiskers twitching. It made a low warbling sound, a cry of concern that brought its siblings running. Together they stared at Lisa's pod, which blinked with a faint red warning light that no human was awake to see. James Rodriguez, the Prometheus's emergency medical officer, should have been in cryosleep too, but his pod had malfunctioned on day 1, and the ship's AI had revived him as per protocol. For 6 months he'd been the only conscious human aboard, monitoring systems, exercising in solitude, and slowly going mad from isolation. The Vryn adults had saved his sanity. Their presence, their alien music, their incomprehensible games, it all reminded him that he wasn't alone in the universe. He'd even started learning their language, a complex series of chirps and gestures. He was in the hydroponics bay, tending to the tomato plants that would feed the colonists upon arrival, when he heard it, the distinct sound of Vryn cubs in distress. James dropped his tools and ran. The cubs never left the biodome without reason. His heart hammered as he navigated the corridors, following the increasingly urgent calls. He found them clustered outside the hibernation bay, pawing at the door controls. The smallest one turned to him, its eyes wide and pleading. It grabbed his hand with surprising strength and pulled him toward the entrance. All right, James muttered, overriding the lock. "Show me what's wrong." The cubs rushed inside, moving with purpose through the rows of sleeping colonists. James followed, his medical training putting him on high alert. Then he saw it, the red warning light. Oh God. Oh no. He sprinted to Lisa's pod, his fingers flying over the diagnostic panel. Temperature 12 degrees Celsius and rising. Metabolic rate accelerating. Time to critical. 11 hours, 47 minutes. The manual revival process would take 20 minutes if everything went perfectly. James had practiced it 1,000 times in simulation, but never for real. His hands shook as he initiated the sequence. The smallest Vryn cub climbed onto his shoulder, its weight a small comfort. It began to purr, a sound that its species used to calm distressed companions. James felt his racing heartbeat slow, his breathing steady. "Thanks, little one," he whispered. "I've got this." 23 minutes later, Lisa's eyes fluttered open. She gasped, confusion and pain washing over her features as her body remembered how to process oxygen, how to feel. "Easy," James said, supporting her as the pod opened. "You're safe. I'm Dr. Rodriguez. Your pod malfunctioned, but we caught it in time." Lisa's vision slowly focused. She saw James's face, tired but kind. Then she saw the 3 Vryn cubs perched on nearby equipment, watching her with obvious concern. They saved me," she croaked. "They did," James confirmed, gently checking her vitals. The alarm system failed. I wouldn't have known if they hadn't found you. These little ones somehow understood you were in danger. The smallest cub hopped down and approached Lisa cautiously. It reached out one paw and gently touched her shoulder, the same gesture it had used on the glass, but now warm, real, and full of unmistakable relief. Lisa began to cry, overwhelmed by the strangeness of it all. She'd gone to sleep expecting to wake in orbit around a new world. Instead, she'd been saved by alien children who shouldn't exist, who'd crossed the ship to wake a human they'd never met. Humanity doesn't travel alone anymore, James said softly, watching the cub nuzzle against Lisa's hand. We have family out here, strange, wonderful family. The cubs chirped in harmony, a sound like bells and wind chimes. The smallest one climbed into Lisa's lap and she held it close, this small alien life that had cared enough to save hers. Somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, aboard a ship full of dreams and sleeping souls, a new kind of bond was being forged. Not just between species, but between hearts, human and otherwise. Because that's what humans did best. They connected, they adapted, and they made family wherever they went. Even in the cold depths of space, even with beings from distant worlds, humanity's greatest strength remained unchanged. They cared.